If you haven't done so already, I suggest you pop open a cold one. Because you're inside the number one show, the hottest form of entertainment, conversation, dialogue, alerts, all things Crimson Tide football. You've made it through the offseason. Game week is upon us. Crimson Tide takes on Utah State Saturday. You're rocking and rolling within my own words. Yours truly, Stephen Smith. Touchdown, Alabama Magazine on a Monday. The Holy Grail, the Infinity Stones of Thanos, the depth chart came out today. We're bringing you the show from the Magic City of Birmingham, streaming this to you on YouTube. Speaking of a channel, go ahead right now, smash that subscribe button, hit subscribe right now. Turn on that like button, run those likes up, give us that thumbs up there, run those likes past the moon, make this your show, your network, platform, channel, and space to talk Bama. Turn all of those notifications on, hit that little bell so that way you miss absolutely nothing when it comes to your Crimson Tide program. We also got you covered here on Facebook and Twitter as well, streaming to you the show. And we got a big one tonight, folks. Like I mentioned, game week this week, Saturday. Bama taking on Utah State. 6:30 p.m. Central Time kickoff. SEC Network will have the call. Bryant-Denny Stadium in Tuscaloosa. The depth chart came out today. People jumping out of windows, wanting to see who's starting, who are the backups, what the freshmen looking like, what can we really take and break down from the depth chart. We'll get into that on this show. We want to hear from you, the passionate fans of Bama football. You can do this by calling 205-448-1358. Number to call in to let your voice be heard on the show. 205-448-1358. One more time, 205-448-1358. Want to hear from you. Don't let tonight go by without letting your opinion be made known here on the show. But daily Super Chat Go, $75. Daily Super Chat Go, appreciate all of you. But right now, we're getting to the first topic of conversation, which is highlights from the depth chart. The biggest highlights, some surprises, some shockers from the starting depth chart on today. We get this thing popping off right here. How about this defensive line? Bama's going to have a nasty starting defensive line here. When you look at Byron Young as one defensive end, Big Tim Smith, the sophomore from Florida, the former five-star in the 2020 class. Everybody's been saying, where's Tim Smith? Where's Big 50? There he is, starting defensive end. Bama took it from defensive tackle to defensive end, and then Big Jaheim Otis, number 91, the freshman from Mississippi. We've talked about the body transformation, dropping all the weight, the dynamic athlete that he is, listed as a co-starter at nose guard with DJ Dale, but I think he will get even more reps at that spot than Dale will get, because Jaheim Otis, mean, physical, aggressive, disruptor. Saban said today, part of being a defensive tackle and nose guard, you got to be hard to block. Jaheim Otis, impossible to block. Got that wiggle on one-on-one situations. Will Anderson spoke today. Jaheim Otis came in here and said, I'm going to lose the weight. I'm going to be impactful. I'm going to play and be a part of this defense. Otis came in here, dropped the weight, contributed, became impactful, has been dominant. He is getting his shot right now. So Bama, dominant, nasty defensive line. Scott right here. First highlight from the depth chart. Second major highlight here is at the cornerback position, the secondary. Now, Alabama's got four guys in this competition when you discuss Kool-Aid McKinstry, Terrion Arnold, Eli Ricks, and Kyrie Jackson. But according to the depth chart, Kool-Aid McKinstry and Terrion Arnold, their names were listed first. Now, the co-starters right now are Ricks and Jackson, but McKinstry and Arnold, their two names were listed first. McKinstry has been silent throughout the spring, throughout fall camp, throughout the summer. McKinstry has been the consistent corner. Terrion Arnold has been the one that's been surging all throughout fall camp. He surged the entire fall camp. And here's a young man, former 5-star from Tallahassee, Florida, came in that 2021 class, extremely smart, high IQ, very instinctive. When you go back and you watch the high school tape of Arnold, there's some Eddie Jackson there in his game. Played safety, but was flipped, converted to corner in Alabama. Has learned that spot quickly, learned it fast, surged all throughout fall camp, and did enough to where Coach Saban has his name first. Not Kyrie Jackson, not Eli Ricks. Terrion Arnold's name first with Kool-Aid McKinstry as a corner. So keep your eyes on that competition right there. But Kool-Aid McKinstry, Terrion Arnold, the two names first as starters there at that cornerback spot there. A little highlight from the depth chart. Moving on here to more. We go to my man Kendall Randolph here on the offensive line. Starting at left guard, he gets the nod against Utah State. And this is basically Coach Saban saying, young man, you've been here for 5 years, or you've been here now for 6 years. We want to show you our appreciation. You've earned it. Here you go. Getting the start there at that left guard position to open the season. Now, will he remain the starter? Possibly not, because I think as the season goes on, Javion Cohan will get that spot back. But I just feel like because of the stick-to-itiveness of Kendall Randolph, and he's been here now 6 years. He's played all over the offensive line. He's even gotten some work at tight end. This is Coach Saban saying, hey, way to go. Proud of you. You stuck it out. You've been here for 6 years, starting off in 2017. We're going to give you this opportunity to go out here against Utah State and show us what you can do. So it does award and honor the faithfulness in terms of a player and the patience of a Kendall Randolph. You got to be happy about that, but that's Kendall Randolph right there. A little highlight from the depth chart there. Moving into the tight end position, this is a very intriguing tight end room. Very intriguing. I mean, Cam Latu is back now from a foot injury that he sustained early on in fall camp. Coach Saban mentioned it was not anything too serious, but Cam Latu is back, and a knee injury, not a foot, but a knee injury, lower body injury that Cam Latu suffered. But he's back. We'll be practicing a lot more this week. We'll be doing some dry running things this week. We'll hopefully be coming out of the black non-contact jersey this week, but due to him having to work back from the injury, Alabama has Robbie Oots, number 45, the sophomore, starting there at that tight end position. Now, Oots from South Carolina was an exceptional blocker a season ago, especially in goal line situations prior to him getting hurt, but he improved his pass catching in spring practice, so hopefully we will see some passes there thrown to number 45. But what U.S. fans are really excited about are the two freshman tight ends, that being Amari Nablack, number 84, and Danny Lewis Jr., number 87. Nablack looked really good throughout fall camp, looked strong throughout fall camp, and Danny Lewis Jr. has had some good moments. Now, Nablack kind of fits in that Kyle Pitts role, a little bit smaller than Kyle Pitts, but still a guy that can be an inline blocking tight end, can go out there, run routes, catch the football, find the hole in the zone, make plays. But you can split him out wide also as a wide receiver. He's faster than linebackers, but bigger than corners and safety, so I like Nablack. I like Danny Lewis also, but tight end position, a very interesting room here. Joe Cox has done a great job there with these guys, but that's just the highlight there. Continuing here with depth chart highlights, we go to Kobe Prentice at wide receiver. Folks, starter at the H spot at receiver. Starter in the slot, Kobe Prentice. Back-to-back scrimmages, he put on a show. 5 catches in the first scrimmage, 3 in the second, including 1 for a touchdown. Getting a chance to talk with Coach Saban today. I mean, the guy loves his work ethic, loves his personality, loves how he practices, and loves the energy he puts into what he does up there on the field. Bryce Young on Kobe Prentice said, hey, this dude made explosive play after explosive play after explosive play throughout fall camp. And We had Mike McCoy, former Alabama wide receiver, 2009 BCS national champion, founder and CEO of Maximum Performance Training in Bessemer. He said, hey, Prentice is an absolute dog. He's a dog. He's got special skills. He's got special traits. He's got special qualities as a receiver. And we're seeing it right now. And we have noticed freshmen as receivers get that job done. Whether it was Julio Jones, whether it was Amari Cooper, Calvin Ridley, Jerry Jeudy, Henry Ruggs, Devontae Smith, Ja'Cory Brooks, to an extent, this past year as a freshman. Is Kobe Prentice the next superstar freshman? Very well can be. Remember, Devontae Smith didn't come to Alabama in 2017 until the summer. Jerry Jeudy came in the spring, but Devontae Smith and Henry Ruggs, they didn't come into the summer. And Devontae Smith did not get a lot of hype. He did not get a lot of conversation. But we all saw how special he became as a receiver. Kobe Prentice did not get a lot of pub coming in here. Through 2 scrimmages, 8 catches, including 1 for a touchdown, and now he's a starter as a receiver in that slot. Really like what Prentice can do here. We shall see against Utah State. Continuing on with the highlights here from the depth chart, we go to Trayshawn Holden, who has stepped all the way up. He's a starter at the Z position at wide receiver, the bottom of the formation. Now is his time. The junior came as a 4-star in the 2020 class and came with his running mate, Bryce Young. And here's the kicker. These two have been roommates for quite some time. The roommate combination is ready to turn up. Bryce Young spoke today about Trayshawn. He's taken on a leadership role in that wide receiver room. He's teaching the young guys how it's done. He spent a lot of time working on his craft in the offseason. The last 2 years, he's really starting to come alive here, understanding what his role is. And now he's prepared to start. And remember, Trayshawn Holden was one of those guys that was on Twitter saying, you're going to feel me. You're going to feel me when I come for you. Well, now he's got that chance to have the people feel him. Why? Starter at Z, bottom of the formation there for the Crimson Tide. So the roommates, Bryce Young, Trayshawn Holden, ready to pop here. Continuing here, highlights from the scrimmage. From the depth chart, we got Ja'Cory Brooks and Tyler Harrell. This was a shock to some people that neither of these two were listed as starters at wide receiver. I mean, Ja'Cory Brooks a season ago had 2 big touchdown receptions, one against Auburn in the Iron Bowl to tie the game in the 4th quarter and send the game in the overtime. And then he had 1, 44-yard touchdown catch against Cincinnati in the Goodyear Cotton Bowl. So people thought that Ja'Cory Brooks would be a starter. I mean, Nick Saban talks very high of him. And then you look at Tyler Harrell, coming up as a transfer from Louisville, 29.1 yards per catch he averaged a season ago, had 6 touchdown receptions. But Harrell, working his way back from a foot injury he suffered in the preseason, is starting now to get more and more reps in practice and growing in confidence. So he is the number 2 receiver in the X formation, at the top of the formation. Well, not the X, he's at the Z, at the bottom of the formation. He's number 2 behind Trayshawn Holden. Ja'Cory Brooks is the number 2 in the X formation behind Jermaine Burton there, if I'm not mistaken. But what Nick Saban is also trying to do here with Ja'Cory Brooks is he's trying to work him as a kickoff returner as well. He's one of the starting kickoff returners with Jahmyr Gibbs. And because of Brooks's competitive nature and wanting to be on the field in every sense and in every capacity, Coach Saban likes that. It's just because you're not a starter here, I'm going to find a different role to make you a starter because of all that you do, for this team. And that's why Brooks is starting on kickoff return. So even though these 2 guys, Brooks and Harrell, they're not starting receivers, they will be impactful players here for the Tide in different roles. But that's just Brooks there and Harrell. So And last but not least, here continuing with this look here of stuff from the depth chart. Well, I think that was the last one there. So, yeah, that was the last one there. But those were just the highlights there from the depth chart. Some surprises, some shockers, if you will, that took place when Coach Saban dropped that list or put that list in the hands of reporters today. But we go to our first break here on the show. Don't touch that dial. Just getting you started on a Monday. Upon our return, we go to the phone lines. We grab your calls, your thoughts, your conversations. What do you have to say about the depth chart? How you feeling about it right now? Game week, Bama taking on Utah State. We get to you guys after this.
You're watching In My Own Words with Stephen M. Smith, brought to you by We Own the Fourth Quarter. Get your four-finger bling necklace today by visiting weownthefourthquarter.com. Throw them foes up.
9 players have teamed up and released the Alabama Team Paper, which is a video yearbook they've put out for sale direct to fans. Now, for the first time, small dollar purchases from the fans can support the players as a group as well as a great cause, because $1 of every subscription payment is donated to the Boys and Girls Club of America. Be a 5-star fan base and support your team and a great cause with Team Paper. Check it out at teampaper.com/Alabama.
Remember the taste of Grandma's delicious sweets? Emily's Heirloom Pound Cakes brings back those precious memories with just one bite. Each cake made from scratch. They make the perfect dessert to share with family and friends for any occasion, and ordering is easy. Visit emily'sheirloompoundcakes.com. Click the online store and shop. Then pick up your fresh cake at the kitchen in downtown Homewood. Order yours online at emily'sheirloompoundcakes.com. Emily's Heirloom Pound Cakes, making memories from scratch.
All right, people, it's Monday. We're getting that work week and game week started off for you correctly. Hottest show on the streets, covering your Crimson Tide. In my own words, yours truly, Stephen Smith of Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Coach Saban dropping the holy grail on us today. The depth chart is here for your viewing pleasure. But before we get to the phone lines to grab your calls, we got some super chats right now. So how about Big Bill? Bill from New York, that $5 donation, dropping that love in the bucket there. Appreciate Bill as dancing Stephen, showing that appreciation as well, getting his dance on there. Then we got Jamie Wilhelm with that $4.99 in the super chats. Appreciate the love there from Jamie. If it not to be outdone, how about Tori Tucker coming in here with a $5 donation as well? So appreciate Bill, Jamie, and Tori Tucker showing love for the show. We got your phone calls right now. The call segment is brought to you by the Blue Wrench Gang, 205-448-1358. Number to call in, 205-448-1358. We grab this call. You're live on the show. What's going on? How we feeling? State your name and where you calling from.
Stephen M. Smith. This is Senator Hines, a.k.a. Coach Smook. And I'm calling from Phoenix City, Alabama. And I just called in today to say, roll tide. And, man, it's football time. Golly, I'm ready for some doggone football. See, from Alabama football. Man, I'm so ready, Steven. Bro, I'm telling you, bro, Steve, when that depth chart came out today, I said, I don't know what it is about, having like a fan base majority of his fan base be on the same page about how they feel about, certain players, how depth charts should look. But from what I've been seeing in the chat over the past couple weeks and then hearing the talk and going back over, we were pretty spot on up until the JoJo Earl injury. And then we started talking about the freshmen that could show up. And you remember I was talking about Kobe Prentice, what that was, last Tuesday or the Tuesday before last, whenever it was. I was talking about Kobe Prentice, and we was making all these predictions and stuff. But this lineup, Steven, this offensive lineup, it is something to be scared of. You think about this. You got guys like Ja'Cory Brooks, Tyler Harrell, Christian Leary that have to be spot players now. Got experienced guys that have to be spot players now. That are going to make – I see the way that the word leadership and work ethic and all these resilience, all these words are being thrown around in the locker room and the interviews and everything. I see these guys taking advantage of those spot opportunities and making it that much more difficult to cover Alabama's offense this year.
as far as, our passing game, our passing concepts. Because you got to understand, we have a full stable of healthy running backs starting in week 1. They got to get it's not going to be many touches going out. And I don't see anybody getting more than 12 to 15 carries in the running back room a game. I don't see that happening because you got all this Bryce Young, all this arm talent. You got all this receiver talent. You have an experienced offensive line that I mean, word from campus, word from practice, everybody looking good, everybody looking solid. So I just don't see the running back getting the handoffs, the touches that like they would expect, like we would suppose they should, So the passing game is gonna be lit, Steven. And you got guys like Ja'Cory Brooks playing spot. Again, after he proved himself last year, he really gonna be a spot player. He's gonna if that work ethic stay there, I see him having a B-Rob type year before he became the starter. And we remember all the clutch plays B-Rob made for us his junior year. Was that his 4th year? Because he came back for his 5th. So B-Rob made some clutch plays as a spot player for Najee. Played hard. I mean, when Najee had to go out, it was like we didn't lose a beat. So if we have that in the receiving core this year, Steven, we won't see the Ajayi Hall drops in the big time if we have injuries. We won't see the Jaleel Billingsley forgetting plays, missing blocks in key moments of the game. We won't see that this year. And that in itself is something big. It's something to look forward to, man. And I'm really scared for Utah State. I watched some of their game this past weekend. I'm scared for them, Steven. But that's all I got, man. I'm excited. Appreciate y'all for taking my call. Roll Tide, Steven. And, man, let's get to it, baby. I'm so excited, bro. Game day chat gonna be lit.
Absolutely. Appreciate Coach Smook, Senator Hines calling in. And he made a good point there. Just because Ja'Cory Brooks and Tyler Harrell and guys like Christian Leary are not listed as starters, these guys are interchangeable players. So Saban is going to work different guys on the field. Holman Wiggins, wide receivers coach, is going to work different guys in the field. So it's going to be virtually impossible to guard and defend everybody. There are going to be moments where a guy's going to come out, Tyler Harrell's coming in. A guy's going to come out, Christian Leary's coming in, and so forth. So we take this call here. You're live on the show. What's happening? What's going on? State your name and where you calling from.
Mr. Stephen Smith, it's your boy Chris with Ballard Sports Media. Roll Tide, happy game week.
Happy game week to you. Happy game week to you, Chris.
Woo! Yes, sir. I got so much I want to say on this game, but I'll give you this. I don't think it's going to be a close one. Utah State, they look pretty good in that opener against UConn. But obviously, that's not Alabama. We know what Alabama is. But I'll say this. I got a list. There's a lot of players that we want to watch for the Crimson Tide. But outside of the quarterback, I have a list of the top 3 players that I want to see more from this Saturday for the opener. Number 1, I want to see Eli Ricks step up. Number 2, I want to see Tyler Harrell, if anybody, from the receiving corps, because I've been pretty high on him since he was at Louisville. And then number 3, I've talked with you about him quite a bit this offseason. Dallas Turner is a name that people don't really know that much of in college football other than us Alabama fans. Those 3 players right there, Stephen, I think can make a name for themselves this Saturday.
I believe they can too, Chris. I mean, you look at, first and foremost, Eli Ricks. I know he had to battle with the little back thing and trying to get back from the shoulder, that he had problems with at LSU last year and picking up the defense. But once he gets everything going, I think Ricks can be an impactful player. And that's number 1. Number 2, when you look at Tyler Harrell, the guy has speed for days. I know he had a little foot issue in the preseason. Saban talked about that. But during this past week of fall camp, he did get more reps. He did get more practice time in. So that's really, really good, really strong for him. And then Dallas Turner, this will be his year to show the masses, Will Anderson, now know me, fear me. So I think this year, I think all 3 of those guys are going to make a huge impact. And I think of the 3, I think Dallas Turner, of all 3 of them, is just ready to say, fear me too.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't know if you got a chance to watch the Utah State-UConn game, but if you did, or if there's anything that maybe you've heard, I know we shouldn't, let's just call it what it is. We shouldn't be worried about Utah State, but is there anything about that team that would stand out to you going into this matchup?
I think the thing that would stand out to me about Utah State is they do have a defense that does force turnovers. So my thing would be the offensive line, primarily Kendall Randolph left guard, Darian Dow court center, Emil Ekiyor right guard. Protect the A and B gap. Don't let the pressure get right into Bryce Young's face.
I'm excited for game day. I recently got a new job, so hopefully I don't know if I'll be on the schedule or not, but I hope I get a chance to watch some of the game. And it's going to be an amazing and awesome season for the Crimson Tide this year. I just feel that this team, and I've said it this offseason, it's built for a championship, you know. And I know that we say that every year for Alabama, but this year I feel something special, especially for the defense. But thanks for always taking my call. College football is back, baby. Roll Tide. Love y'all. Woo!
Absolutely. Appreciate my man Chris calling in from Coleman, talking about this depth chart and college football back, Bama football back. We take this call here. You're live on the show. What's going on? How we feeling tonight? State your name and where you calling from?
Stephen, Bill from New York. I'm feeling good. How about you?
I'm feeling pumped, man. Coach Saban put the depth chart in my hand this morning. I looked at it. Most of it I said I knew, and some I said, ooh, okay, this is nice here.
I'm sure you did know it because you're the expert. Well, but first and foremost, I want to say that we should all be, and I know we are all praying for B-Rob. That guy, what a good guy. He waited a long time. He had his horrible reflection on what's going on. But anyway, you know, prayers go out for him. Now, 5 days to go, Stephen. I got my flag in front of the house. You can't imagine how ready I am. I'm talking about got my rituals going on, going out tomorrow to get a special IPA. You know what I mean? Because what I do when the guys, when the kickoff, the team kicking off, when his foot hits the ball, I got to open it and start drinking before the other team catches the ball. That's what I got to do. And it works. You know, I got a really good record with that, you know. And I just want to say in terms of scoring, I don't expect a high-scoring game. I don't think, you know what it is? I remember what we did to Cincinnati. And, like, you know, we were bigger than them, we're stronger than them. And we pushed them all over the line. B-Rob tore them up. And I'm thinking that's what we're going to do with this team. I think, you know, we're going to just beat them up. We're going to get some passes, but I think we're going to save the big scoring games for more worthy opponents. The other thing I want to talk about, Stephen, did you hear that interview with Saban with that heavyset guy on ESPN? Did you happen to hear that?
I did.
Man, he was cracking me up. And the dude said to him, you know, how Jimbo told him, we're not phone buddies. And Saban says, listen, I got no hard feelings. Everything's good. You know, I don't carry grudges. But then he went on, he said, you know what, let me make this good. I don't have any phone buddies. He's not trying to win football games, trying to recruit players. I don't have no phone. And I'm picturing him on the phone like regular people like me and you calling my friends, say, hey, man, how you doing? He don't do that. He's out to win. We are so lucky to have this guy. I hope people like you and everybody younger than me, I hope you can live to see another guy who's like half as good as him. We got something special. We're going to kick ass this year, Stephen. Great to talk to you as always. Your show's the greatest. And roll Tide, brother.
Appreciate my man Bill from New York calling in. I'm telling you, just so much build up here for the season. It's coming in 5 days. Got the depth chart today. I mean, I'm pumped up. I mean, like I said, when I looked at it, a lot of the things I knew, just like U.S. fans, a lot of the things you knew, but then there's just certain spots in the depth chart you went, oh my gosh, he's starting. Oh my gosh, he's a backup. Oh my goodness, how did he rise? And I kind of got the same type of vibe that you guys got there. Guys, shout out Don Parker. Don Parker with that $10 donation in the Super Chat. Showing love right here. Appreciate that coming from Don Parker to the show. But 205-448-1358. Get the phone ringing there. Get your thoughts in on the show. 205-448-1358. 205-448-1358. Don't allow the night to go by without getting your thoughts, your opinions in here on the show. And we got a quick call topic here. As my man Bill from New York mentioned, definitely our thoughts and our prayers to Brian Robinson and what happened on yesterday. It was weird. It was crazy. It was unfortunate. And a robbery attempt in D.C. Ryan Robinson was a victim of a shooting, got shot multiple times in his leg. Now, where was he in D.C.? That's the question that people are trying to understand and get information about, because that part was not disclosed. However, the part that was where B-Rob shot multiple times in his leg there, but thankfully no life-threatening injuries were sustained. He had surgery today, posted on his Instagram as he was getting on the plane that he's okay. Surgery went well. According to Commanders head coach Ron Rivera, he gave a positive report there on B-Rob, saying how B-Rob in stable condition, in good condition, and there's still the opportunity where he can make it back onto the field and be able to play this season for the Washington Commanders. Prior to the mishap there on yesterday, B-Rob was pushing Antonio Gibson for the starting job at running back for Washington. So it just tells you the toughness, but stick-to-itiveness, determination that Brian Robinson, the player, and Brian Robinson, the man, is. So definitely our prayers, definitely our strong recovery wishes go out there to B-Rob. A phenomenal young man, and hate that happened, but thankful that no life-threatening injuries, got through the surgery, everything came out well. So praying for a strong recovery for B-Rob. But we go to our break right here, folks. Don't touch that dial, baby, because when we get back, we look at how does it benefit Alabama playing Utah State. We're used to the Crimson Tide starting off the season, marquee, traditional powerhouse opponent at a neutral site game, but it takes on Utah State Saturday at Bryant-Denny. How does this benefit the Tide? We'll talk about it after this.
You know what we do at the start of the fourth quarter. We throw them foes up. But now you don't have to wait until the fourth quarter. Get your four-finger bling necklace at weownthefourthquarter.com. It's the first and only logo that captures the essence of all Crimson Tide players and fans as we represent the legendary Alabama football fourth quarter dominance. Get your four-finger bling necklace right now at weownthefourthquarter.com. Get yours today and stun on them haters. Touchdown Alabama Magazine is Alabama football's premier publication. A subscription to Touchdown Alabama Magazine is the perfect gift for any Alabama fan. For exclusive news and information, recruiting updates, a free annual print magazine, and more, go to touchdownalabama.com and click join. Only $7.95 per month, or pay $74.95 for a full year subscription. That's a yearly saving of $20. Go to touchdownalabama.com today and roll Tide.
And we are back here, folks, to the action from the break. Hottest show on the streets, covering your Bama football news. In my own words, yours truly, Stephen Smith of Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Happy to have you guys in here on a Monday, getting that work week and that game week started here. Crimson Tide taking on Utah State Saturday, 6:30 p.m. Central Time kickoff from Bryant-Denny in Tuscaloosa. SEC Network will have the call. The depth chart came out today. Like I was mentioning earlier, U.S. Bama consumers going crazy for that. But we now get into, Alabama taking on Utah State. How does this benefit Alabama? What does Alabama gain from playing the Aggies of Utah State this weekend? Because normally we're used to seeing Alabama take on Virginia Tech, USC, Wisconsin, Michigan, traditional powers, big powers at a neutral site field to open the campaign. And Now, the last time it took on kind of a smaller level school to open the season was 2011 when it took on Kent State at Bryant-Denny, Coach Saban's alma mater, and then year 2 it took on Penn State. So this season kind of mirrors 2011 a little bit in terms of schedule. So Bama taking on Utah State, the Aggies who were 11-3 a season ago. Yes, they kind of slipped by UConn in that matchup, sleepwalking by UConn, getting itself set for Alabama, because we all know when a team takes on Alabama, this is their Super Bowl, right? This is their Super Bowl. This was their chance to show Bama, what they are made of. But Utah State brings back talent. They got talent offensively. They got guys defensively that will look to throw some different things there at the Crimson Tide. But here we go here. This is the 3 things of how it benefits Alabama taking on Utah State. So number one, the number one benefit is this gives Alabama a chance to announce its dominance, both sides of the ball, the college football world. Gives Bama a chance to do this because, Bama ended the season last year with the loss to Georgia in the national championship game. The confetti rained red and black. Not crimson and white, but red and black in favor of Georgia. And, that left a bad taste in Alabama's mouth. Not the bad taste in Coach Saban's mouth, right? And the one thing Saban loves to do in challenging his team is when you open up a new season, it's, what do you want to say about yourself? You want to go out there and hammer that team and beat them to a pulp and knock them down and show, hey, we're Bama. We're for real this season. 2021, thing of the past. We're for real this year. New year, and we're running through everybody. Or are you trying to sleepwalk into this game and give Utah State an opportunity to hang around in this game more than what you would want them to? So here's a chance for Alabama, announcing that dominance, announcing that all-out, joyless murder ball to the rest of college football, and making a example of Utah State to set the tone of what every other football team is going to get when it faces Alabama in this upcoming season. So that's number one. That's the number one thing you gain there. Number 2 for me, Alabama gains the opportunity of seeing the creativity of Bill O'Brien offensively in year 2. Year 1, first season, getting to work with Bryce Young, getting to work with Nick Saban, getting to work with all of his offensive talent. But now that it's year 2, people are expecting creativity from Bill O'Brien. People are expecting, okay, how is OB going to use Jahmyr Gibbs? How is he going to use Jace McClellan? How is he going to use Trayshawn Holden and Kobe Prentice and Tyler Harrell and Ja'Cory Brooks and all of these weapons, Jermaine Burton? How is Bill O'Brien going to use all of this to make this offense fun, eye-catching, entertaining, explosive? I can't go pee. I can't go use the bathroom, because if I go use the bathroom, I am going to miss greatness. How is Bill O'Brien going to incorporate that type of creativity into the Alabama offense? That's the second thing Alabama can gain from playing against Utah State. Also, how is O'Brien going to use Jalen Milroe, who's going to have a shot in this game to get some reps in here? There's a package for him. How is Bill O'Brien going to be creative with Jalen Milroe? So Bill O'Brien's creativity, the number 2 thing that Alabama can gain here facing Utah State. Number 3, the third thing that Alabama can gain here, the backups, the Bama backups can gain confidence in getting those reps against the Aggies. The second and third teamers can get that confidence, right? Second team offensive linemen, second team defensive linemen, those second team guys at linebacker in the secondary, second team guys offensively can gain those reps and gain that much needed confidence in playing that winning football and continuing to grow in that aspect of playing winning football. So to me, those are the 3 things that Alabama can gain. Of course, if I have to throw a 4th one in there, the thing Alabama can gain is nobody having an injury, of course. That'd be the fourth thing. But those are the three things for me. For me, Bama announcing that dominance to the college football world. It's here. 2021 over. Get ready to see big, bad Bama go through the whole 2022 season. Number two, the creativity of Bill O'Brien. Got to see that here in this matchup against Utah State. And for number three, are the Bama backups getting this chance to grow in that confidence in those reps. But we're going to go to another break here, folks, on the show. Don't touch that down because, baby, we're just getting this thing popping. When we get back, we return to the phone lines. We're grabbing your calls, your thoughts, your interactions. We're getting to your conversations. Ring those phone lines. We want to hear from you right after this.
Don't touch that dial. Call in right now as we're taking your calls up next on In My Own Words with Stephen M. Smith. Brought to you by We Own the Fourth Quarter. Visit weownthefourthquarter.com now to get your four-finger bling necklace. Every sports fan deserves the proper representation. Whitwell Sports introduces to you the Title Towel. Wave that Title Towel in the air like you just don't care in support of Nick Saban and the Alabama Crimson Tide. Only $9.99 and it lasts a lifetime. Head on over to whitwellsports.com and get your Title Towel today. Touchdown Alabama Magazine is Alabama football's premier publication. A subscription to Touchdown Alabama Magazine is the perfect gift for any Alabama fan. For exclusive news and information, recruiting updates, a free annual print magazine, and more, go to touchdownalabama.com and click join. Only $7.95 per month or pay $74.95 for a full-year subscription. That's a yearly saving of $20. Go to touchdownalabama.com today and roll Tide.
Hey, folks, can you feel the electricity? 5 days from Bama football opening up the season against Utah State on Saturday. Depth chart came out the day. We're rocking and rolling here with you on a Monday. Hottest show on the streets. Getting this thing here popping for you. We go to the phone lines right now to grab your calls. The call segment brought to you by the Blue Wrench Gang, 205-448-1358. Number to call in, 205-448-1358. We grab this call. You are live on the show. What's going on? How we feeling? State your name and where you calling from.
Stephen M. Smith. This is Spencer Reevely from Lafayette, Georgia. How you doing, sir?
Doing great, Spencer. We got the depth chart here. We got Bama football on Saturday. If I was doing any better, I would probably be a billionaire.
I'll be right there with you, brother. Just talk about this depth chart. Got my nipples hard. But let me get into it real quick with you. I got two good questions for you real quick. Number one, on the depth chart, nothing against Utah State. Please don't, nobody take this the wrong way. But do you think the way Nick Saban did the depth chart is awarding everybody who put the work in during the spring and fall camp? They put the work in, and so he's awarding them the top dogs to be the starters?
Yeah, I can see that, Spencer. Absolutely. I mean, this is all the hard work from those guys that have shown the leadership, that have shown the consistent big performances and practices and scrimmages. And then, these are also guys that, some thought would emerge and some are surprised by how they're emerged. So these are the guys that really impressed Coach Saban and the staff from spring ball to today.
I agree with you. I mean, that's the way I read it, which I applaud Nick Saban immensely for doing that. My second question for you, then I get off here, because I know you got a lot in the queue, is Coach O, do you think that he will finally actually read and take advantage of what our skill set is against the defenses against us?
I think that Coach O'Brien needs to take that advantage, and I think he takes that advantage this season due to in the second year, you got to be more comfortable. You got to be more comfortable. You got to be more creative. You understand now what you have. Year one, you probably don't understand as much. You're kind of trying to stumble to get these relationships. But by year two, you get, okay, I know Bryce Young is that right there. Okay, I know what I got here at receiver. I know what I got here at running back. I know what I got here at tight end. Offensive line with Wolford in here is going to be extremely better. So I think O'Brien definitely now is going to take full-fledged advantage.
Hey, y'all are friggin' awesome. Love you. Love your show. Thank you so much, man. Have a great night.
I absolutely appreciate the man Spencer Revley calling in here to the show on a Monday. We take this call here. You're live on the show. What's going on? How we doing on Depth Chart Day? State your name and where you calling from.
Hey, Steve, how's it going?
Doing great, and yourself, man?
That's Rob from Mobile.
Hey, Rob.
Hey, man. Well, I watched Utah State play the mighty UConn this weekend, and I think Nick Saban's going to have to go on one of his famous rants to keep the team focused against Utah State. Because after watching that game Saturday against UConn, it's how do we not rush for 300 yards on UConn? The game should be over in the first quarter, and the team's going to know that, and they'll hear all week long about the media overlooking Utah State towards Texas, and Nick Saban, he'll need one of his rants to keep the team focused, because there's just no contest here. I watched UConn push this team, Utah State, around for almost 300 yards, and it's like, if we don't get 300 yards rushing, it'll be criminal. Unless it's one of those games you have to say what you want to work on the most. You want Bryce Young to get the reps in with the receivers, so we'll just pass the ball on to death, or then we let the running backs just run them into the ground. It's pick your poison, and any score you want, you can get type game. I mean, it's a long time since Alabama's had the opening game. That it's like this, and it's just not. I mean, it is. Utah State is not going to be a competition. The next game against Texas is where we really, I think, get the feel for how the team's going to be for the rest of the year. If they stomp a mud hole in Texas from beginning to end, the rest of college football is on notice, and it's until you take notice, and you better be afraid, because the game against Utah State is not to mention they got the bad taste from championship still in their mouth. They want to get out. So I look for the first quarter to be, them getting their frustration out of Utah State the first half for the championship game that we should have won. And after that, it'll be Nick Saban screaming and hollering at folks on the sideline to keep them engaged, because we're up 45-3. So keep them engaged for the rest of the game. I think I'm going to go to that game, but I expect that by halftime to be able to sit anywhere I want, because half the stadium's empty. Because it just should be no contest. We knew it wasn't going to be a contest before the season started, but it's like, oh man, after watching them play the mighty UConn, Utah State. Sorry for you. I'm going to call you next to Ken. It's going to be that bad of a night for you. But hey, but like I said, he'll be on. Nick Saban be on the sideline, trying to keep everybody engaged, trying to keep everybody focused. And sometimes during the week, I expect him to go on a rant, because the media is underestimating Utah State as they should.
Appreciate Robert from Mobile for that call. Could we see a Nick Saban rant on Wednesday? I will stay tuned definitely for that right there. And, to me, if it was pick your poison with the Alabama offense, I would love to see Alabama run the football. I want to see this offensive line with Eric Wolford, this rough and tough identity that this offensive line has bought into. I want to see this front line impose its will. If I had my say in this, that's what I want to see. This front line impose its will on Utah State, be rough, tough, mean, physical. But we take this call here. You're live on the show. What's happening? What's going on? State your name and where you calling from.
Hey, Stephen, it's Ruben from Ohio.
How you doing, man?
Hey, doing pretty good, man. I'm sitting here, I'm looking at this depth chart, and, I just want to say something. I have no surprises, on this depth chart. None of it surprises me at all. Especially, with Kobe Prentice, all the talk was about, all the other freshmen, Isaiah Bond, Aaron Anderson's out with the injury, and I knew Kobe Prentice coming out of, Calera High School, he's a nearby kid, he was going to have a chip on his shoulder. And, I was watching his highlights. I'm like, you know what, this kid, out of all the highlights I've seen, man, I know you got Kendrick Law, he's the most physical and, just actual, just polished receiver they got as a freshman. There was no talk about him, so that's not surprising. And also, when it comes to this depth chart, I'm gonna be honest, this depth chart really means nothing. And you know why it means nothing, Steven? Because this is just a piece of paper that he's releasing now. This is something I know these guys may have worked hard, in the summer, in the fall camp, but until we see the actual gameplay. And, what's going to happen on Saturday, this depth chart means nothing. He can release his depth chart, and all of a sudden maybe you got Tyler Harrell, Christian Leary, somebody that's, second deep. They step up, and next thing you know, going into Texas, you got a whole new depth chart. So it means nothing. Defense was expected, but, I have no surprises anywhere on this depth chart. I just want to add, I don't get your opinion on that. Do you have any surprises? What's your opinion? You think anything is going to change down the line? When JoJo Earl comes back from the injury, what do you think is going to happen then? Just give me your thoughts and opinions on that, Steven.
Appreciate Ruben calling in right there. And Ruben made a good point there also. It's, Saban likes to call it a rep chart instead of a depth chart because things can change at any given moment, absolutely. And then when you look at JoJo Earl, once he gets back in October, he'll have a chance to jump in there and see and show what he can do. Tyler Harrell and Christian Leary are seen as interchangeable receivers, but one of those two, if not both, can absolutely step up. I think the first thing that caught me was Tim Smith being moved from nose tackle to defensive end. I mean, that caught me right away because I'm thinking he was going to be the next nasty nose tackle, and now he's been shifted to defensive end, where he'll start there opposite, Byron Young. And I thought, maybe Justin Boygby would finally have his moment, but I guess Tim Smith proved to be more dynamic than, a Boygby. Another thing that caught my attention was right after Henry To'o on the depth chart and middle linebacker, it's Kendrick Blackshire. I mean, we know Kendrick Blackshire is this transformer, avenger, body different, just insanely talented linebacker. And I call him the love child of Reuben Foster and Mack Wilson. But for him to be sitting here as the backup middle linebacker tells you he's not just the athlete, he's grasped the entire playbook, or the playbook for the most part, and being able to direct signals and get the calls around from that perspective. So in the future, if Blackshire is hitting like Reuben Foster, but controlling the defense like C.J. Mosley, I mean, holy cow. I mean, look at that right there. That could be freaking scary when you look at Kendrick Blackshire doing that. So those were two things that kind of, stood out to me and jumped out to me, among the whole list. But appreciate Ruben there for that call, 205-448-1358. Then we're to call in to let your voice be heard on the show, 205-448-1358, that right there. But we get into this call topic right here, and that being Jermaine Burton and Trayshawn Holden. Burton and Holden, the two receivers for Bama, before coming to Alabama, they both spent some time playing high school ball or taking those high school camps in California. And these two, while they were there, they formed the alliance called the DB Assassins, Defensive Back Assassins. What that alliance is this group of receivers saying, hey, we're embarrassing defensive backs. We're making defensive backs feel like they should have never been on the face of this earth. We are schooling, shredding DBs to death. DB Assassins. And they've kept that moniker about themselves as Jermaine Burton went to Georgia for 2 years. Now he's at Alabama. And Trayshawn Holden in his third season with the Tide. But it's awesome how the two DB Assassins will be starters this year. they get a chance to truly cook some DBs, cook some defensive secondaries for one team, that being Bama football, with Jermaine Burton, the starter at the X position, the top of the formation, Trayshawn Holden, the starter at Z, at the bottom of the formation. But, folks, we take a final break here on the show. Don't touch that dial, because upon our return, we look at this 2022 class of freshmen and these guys that are about to make an impact for this team as freshmen, according to or looking back at this depth chart. We'll talk about the freshmen poised for impact right after this.
If you're an avid Alabama Crimson Tide fan and you love to flaunt it, then show your Alabama Crimson Tide support by grabbing the All-Bama sneakers. They feature bold Crimson Tide graphics, so no one will be able to question where your allegiance lies. When you add these sweet sneakers to your Alabama Crimson Tide collection, go to STSFootwear.com and use the code TDAlabama for $15 off your purchase. That's code TDAlabama for $15 off your purchase. Go to STSFootwear.com and get your All-Bama sneakers today. Touchdown Alabama Magazine is Alabama football's premier publication. A subscription to Touchdown Alabama Magazine is the perfect gift for any Alabama fan. For exclusive news and information, recruiting updates, a free annual print magazine, and more, go to touchdownalabama.com and click join. Only $7.95 per month, or pay $74.95 for a full year subscription. That's a yearly saving of $20. Go to touchdownalabama.com today and roll Tide. Thank you for tuning in. Show your support right now by clicking that like button. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button now and enable all notifications to make sure you don't ever miss any of the best Alabama football news, notes, and information right here on Touchdown Alabama.
All right, people, we're rocking and rolling back in here from the break on a Monday, getting that work week and game week started for you correctly on the hottest show on the streets, number one forum for Bama football news. In my own words, yours truly, Stephen Smith of Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Coach Saban released the Holy Grail today, that being the depth chart for your Crimson Tide. You've been looking at it all day long here, and before we get into the final topic of conversation, got to remind you of TDAwear.com. That is TDAwear.com. So for all of your swagger, sauce, drip, fashion, clothing, cultural needs, check us out right here. TDAwear.com. Link in the description. Get you that gear today to start your cheering for this team on Saturday. Crimson Tide taking on Utah State. Show that support for Coach Saban, the University of Alabama, the student athletes, and us here at Touchdown Alabama Magazine. But as we get into it now, final topic of conversation, we look at the freshmen from this 2022 class and the guys who are poised to make an impact on this team this year, reflecting from information we have discovered from the depth chart. And Coach Saban, very excited about this group of freshmen. Very excited about this class of newcomers, fresh faces in here that have a chance to make an impact. And starting this thing off here, I got to look at here Jaheim Otis. Jaheim Otis as a co-starter on the defensive line at nose tackle. All that he's done. It's just been impressive. From the weight transformation to all the work he's put in, summer workouts, spring ball, fall camp, putting himself in position. Will Anderson talked about it. He came in, he didn't pout, he didn't moan, he didn't groan. He knew he had to drop weight. He came in saying, I'm going to drop the weight. I'm going to compete for a spot. I'm going to make an impact. I'm going to be a factor on this team. And he's done just that. And I feel like he is going to get more reps than DJ Dale out there. He's going to get more opportunities. But see, this is a nasty nose guard. And Bama fans want to know, does it have that Deron Payne? Does it have that Quinnen Williams? Does it have that Marcel Darius? Does it have that Terrence Cody? Does it have that Jesse Williams? Does it have that Christian Barmore? Does it have that type of nose tackle? Well, there he is, folks. Jaheim Otis. There he is right there. Co-starter for a reason. and is about to explode as a freshman for your Crimson Tide. So, but next freshman poised for impact, Kobe Prentice. Our own, Mike McCoy trained him as a senior coming out of Calera High School. McCoy talked about it, got that dog mentality about himself, got traits, skills, characteristics that make him a stud, a superstar on the rise at receiver. We've seen freshmen come in here at that position to make serious noise. Prentice through 2 scrimmages, 8 catches, including 1 for a touchdown. Where's number 80? He's about to have his moment. His time. He's about to have his moment. Starter in the slot, ready to see Kobe Prentice do his thing. Our own Justin Smith, the lead scouting and recruiting analyst for TDA, spent a great deal of time scouting Prentice. And this is another reason why. If you are not following Justin Smith, I don't know if you under a rock. I don't know what you're doing with your life. Follow this brother right here. Justin is that dude out there on the recruiting trail. He know every athlete name, their mama name, their grandmama name, their phone number, their social security. Well, he don't know them like that. I don't know if he knows social security like that, but Justin Smith is scouting out these athletes. He's driving to every game. He is there on the scene there. He did exclusive work there on one Kobe Prentice. So looking forward to seeing that man ball out here this season. Another guy that's poised for impact as a freshman, Tyler Booker on the offensive line. Young man from IMG Academy. He is the backup right guard behind Emil Ekiyor. He's got a tremendous relationship with Eric Wolford, Coach Wolf. Tyler Booker had a really good spring. He had a really good summer, had a really good fall camp. Natural tackle, but he's also natural guard. And him in that phone booth, looking forward to seeing their Tyler Booker. Poised for impact right there. The next 2 freshmen, both at linebacker, Jeremiah Alexander and Jihad Campbell. These 2 right here. Woo! Campbell, 3rd team at inside linebacker, that weak side backer position. But this guy right here, when I saw him throw that sled down like a rag doll, Jihad Campbell's ready. He is ready. He's going to get some reps in here. Poised for impact. Definitely on special teams, he'll get those reps. But poised for impact as an inside linebacker also, primarily a weak side linebacker. Jeremiah Alexander will get some work there at that outside backer position. I think it's strong side backer. He's behind Dallas Turner at that strong side, that Sam linebacker spot. So keep your eyes on Jeremiah Alexander, a freak show from Thompson High School. He's going to get some reps in also as well. So we've got freshmen in here, poised for impact. We got freshmen in here, poised to make a difference. It's going to be big right here. Before we wrap up the show here, Bama fans, got to remind you, the Bama Standard tomorrow, 6 p.m. Central Time, streaming right here on TDA's YouTube channel. You want fun? You want laughs? You want comedy? You want Bama Legends? You got it right here. Bama Standard tomorrow, 6 p.m. Central Time with Justin Riley, comedy legend Steve Brown, all SEC linebacker and Bama great Marvin Constant, 2-time national champion for Alabama and USFL champion with the Birmingham Stallions, Bo Scarborough. Yours truly, Stephen M. Smith. We got 2 huge guests. We got former Bama great linebacker Kendall Moorhead and another Bama great linebacker, Christian Miller. Kendall Moorhead and Christian Miller coming on the show tomorrow. You don't want to miss that. It's going to be awesome. The Bama Standard, 6 p.m. Central Time, streaming right here on TDA's YouTube channel. Well, folks, if you want the best in news, notes, information, coverage on your Crimson Tide, you can get this by accessing the Touchdown Alabama Magazine app. You download the app from the iPhone App Store if you're rocking Team Apple, Google Play Store if you got the Android phone. For your audio needs, check us out, iTunes or Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Spreaker, TuneIn Radio, Overcast.fm. or iHeartRadio. We got you covered. If the good and gracious Lord sees fit, I will be back on Wednesday, continuing the conversation that is Tide football. Remember, Bama fans, you can purchase individual copies of Touchdown Alabama magazine. Have those sent to your door. That link will be found in the description. If you're trying to get the fresh edition, print edition of TDA the magazine, you go to touchdownalabama.com. You click join, become a member or a subscriber today. That link in the description also. If you're trying to get your hands on the 4-finger bling necklace, 4-finger bling jewelry, courtesy of our guys at weownthefourthquarter.com, that link in the description too. Guys, shout out you guys, the outstanding Crimson Tide fan base, for all the love, all the donations, all the chats, all the conversations. You making this your show, your network, platform, channel, and space to talk Bama. Guys, shout out my outstanding producers. We got the OG, John Aubrey. We got Young Yoda, Eli Walker helping us out here on the show, making this show what it is, and keeping me in line to the best of their abilities there. But until next time, folks, husbands, love your wives. Wives appreciate, value those husbands. Children, continue doing the right thing, fun thing, smart thing, good thing, legitimate thing, to not be bored and get that schoolwork done, baby. Get you those 3 hearty meals a day, those 3 great laughs a day. You protect yourself. You protect the loved ones around you. Until next time, folks, football is back. And until Wednesday, you've been listening to In My Own Words. See you there.